أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. Salamun alaikum to all of you, my dear brothers and sisters, my dear audience. I would like to welcome you, my dear brothers and sisters, for taking part in another series of this program. As you know, we are talking about Islamic lifestyle, and we are here to share with you, my dear brothers and sisters, some part of this glorious lifestyle. As you know, in Islam, we have particular lifestyle. And we are going to talk a little bit about some aspect of this beautiful lifestyle. If you remember, we talked about different issues in this regard and in this scope. And we told that Islam, this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, has its own lifestyle, how to live in this world, how to behave with other fellow human beings, with other, whether they are Muslim, non-Muslim, religious or non-religious people, how to talk with people, how to live, in personal lifestyle or societal lifestyle, and how to interact with other people, with your neighbors, with your family members, with the members of the society, and so on and so forth. If you remember, my dear brother and sister, we talked about different issues in this regard. Just in order to refresh your mind, we told that for how to make your building, whether you live in the apartment flats or you live in the mansion or different kind of houses that we have, in this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in Islam, we have some recommendation for that. If you remember, we talked a little bit about that issue, and we told that Islam has its own, recommendation and advice and pieces of advice for how to make a building. How should your, houses be? That we told different issues. Just I want to, add something, and I think it is very necessary to add something on this issue. If you remember, I quote some narration from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wassalam, and from Imam al-Rida alayhi salatu wasalam. They told that min sa'adat al-mar'i sa'atul mandil. From the prosperity of a human being is to have very big house. And we told that what does it mean to have big house? We told that it is recommended in Islamic point of view to have some, big house. Sa'atul manzil, it means that your houses must not be tighted houses, okay? If it is possible, financially speaking, if it is possible for the people to have large or big houses in order to feel comfortable and to have very comfortable life. Of course, if it is possible for the people. But my dear brother and sister, we should add this point to our topic, that according to Islam, it is recommended to have your houses according to the standard of the houses of other people. For example, if you are living in the city, that most people are living in the flats or in the apartment, so it is okay to have your apartment, and there is no problem for that. Or, for example, if you are living in the city or in the country or in the community, that most people that are living in a particular house, it is recommended according to Islam to have the standard house of the country and the community. That what is commonly acceptable among people, what is the common sense of people with regard to the houses, it is recommended to have that a standard and that common house for the people. So it means that if it means that you have for example, large mansion, if it means that you are, you are wealthy people, you are rich people, for example, you have a lot of wealth and money, and it has some negative consequences in the society, of course it is not recommended to have such a house. I want to say that according to the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wassalam, what is best for the people, what is recommended for the houses, is to have the standard houses, what is a common house among people to have that house. Not more than the, ordinary people, not more than the, common people, ordinary people in the city and in the, that, for example, country that you are living in. So, if you remember, my dear brothers and sisters, I quote one narration from Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam with regard to the clothes. In that narration, Imam said that فَخَيْرُ اللِّبَاسِ كُلِّ ذَمَانٍ لِبَاسُ أَهْلِهِ. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salatu wasalam said that best clothes for the people is to have the clothes of the ordinary people, just to have the common, decent clothes for yourself, okay? It means that in Islam, we do not have particular clothes that it is recommended. We cannot say that this clothes is recommended or that clothes is recommended, this color is recommended or that color. No, in Islam, we have only خَيْرُ لِبَاسُ كُلِّ زَمَانٍ لِبَاسُ أَهْلِ. What is commonly acceptable to be decent clothing for the people, it is the best choice, for the people to have it with regard to the clothes. And the same idea is with regard to the, houses for the people. Best house for the people is what is commonly acceptable to have a decent and normal house for the people. So, the point that I want to emphasize here, my dear brother and sister, is that Islam is a religion for all human beings. Okay, it is for each and every human being. Islam is a religion for all of them. So Islam did not give any priority to some people, to some class of people, for example, whether they are wealthy people or poor people. And if you want to understand the perspective of Islam with regard to different issues, you should put many things together. Okay, you cannot look at this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from one angle, from one aspect. You should put different things together, different verses of Noble Quran, all verses together, all narrations of Ahlul Bayt together. Then you can come to the, obvious understanding of Islam, and you can come to a very clear conclusion in this regard, and then you can attribute it to the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So please be very cautious in this regard. We cannot attribute something to Islam without further studying and without having a clear understanding of all verses of Noble Quran and all narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimu salatu wassalam. My friends, the reason that I want to make this point here in this program is that unfortunately we see some people criticizing Islam, criticizing different, I can say, Islamic laws, or for example, Islamic ethical codes of behavior with regard to the individual or to the societal aspect of that. And they want to criticize and question Islam. And in the most cases that we observe such people, is that those people, they do not have inclusive understanding of Islam. What do I mean by inclusive? I mean that they do not have general understanding of the, this divine religion of, this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is very important, my dear brother and sister. It means that you cannot go to one verse of Noble Quran, okay, and to question that verse and to attribute something to divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, unless you have observed all verses from the beginning till the end. You study all verses of Noble Quran, then you can attribute something to the Quran, to the Noble Quran. Or you should have inclusive understanding of the and comprehensive understanding of the narrations of Ahlul Bayt, including Holy Prophets, and then you can attribute to something to Islam. So it is, I think, very crucial and important for those people who want to criticize Islamic laws or criticize, and question some aspect of the religion, this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Just so you want to have one advice for them, they do not have, adequate, they do not have enough understanding of this divine religion. If they want to question Islam, it's okay. You can go and have general understanding, inclusive understanding of Islam, then you can have your question. And be sure that we have lots of answers for that, and Islam has lots of answers for those questions. This is one point that I want to add it to this discussion. So, the conclusion with regard to the clothes of human being, if you remember, we have some programs talked about how your clothes should be. And then in the other session, we talked about how your houses should be. And of course, we gave a lot of recommendation in this regard from the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wasalam. The point here is that we came to this conclusion that according to the narrations of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wasalam, it might be in this way that best clothes for the human being is a ordinary clothes, decent clothes, normal clothes that all people they have it. Okay, I said that decent clothes is, which is all human beings they consider it to be proper, they consider it to be appropriate, clothes for the people. And with regard to the houses, what is generally according to the common sense of people, whether they are living in India, whether you are living in Pakistan, you are living in England, any country you are living, what is commonly acceptable to be the, very nice, very acceptable, house, that is a recommendation of Islam. It doesn't matter whether you are, for example, you are in a wealthy condition or you are poor, or for example, you have money or you do not have money. These are not related to this issue. If you want to have the general understanding of Islam, of course we have a lot of recommendation with regard to the infaq of the people, to the charity of people. If you go to the verses of Noble Quran, we have a lot of recommendation about giving charity to the people. As zakat, وَيُؤْتُونَ الزَّكَاةِ. Zakat means not only the zakat that we have in Islamic laws, of course that is part of that, but generally speaking, zakat means your monetary obligation. We have a lot of monetary obligation, including khums, zakat, kafarat, giving sadaqah, all that include the title as zakat. So, yu'tuna zakat means your monetary obligation that each and every people they have in the Islamic society. They should give it to the poor people. We should help poor people. We should have muwasat for the people. What does it mean, muwasat? To feel that you should support, to feel the support for the people. Try to support and aid other poor people, common people. Try to be kind to them, try to be giving to them, and try to help them and take their hands. This is a meaning of muwasat. So, of course, in Islam, this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is regarded so much the poor people, destitute people, try to have justice in the society, try to establish justice among people, and many recommendations in this regard for the qist and justice, to have fairness between people, and try to be giving to the poor people. About the distribution of the money, it should be in a just way, not only among the wealthy people. كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. For example, this verse we have in the Noble Quran, that the money, circulation of money must not be only in the hand of the wealthy people. كَيْ لَا يَكُونَ دُولَةً بَيْنَ الْأَغْنِيَاءِ مِنْكُمْ. Circulation of money must not be only in the hand of the capitalist people, who are the wealthy people. No, distribution of money should be for all people in the very equal way. And it is a meaning of social justice. What does it mean, social justice? Social justice means that distribution of money should be in a very fair and equal way for every and each people, not only for the wealthy people, not only for the political people, for the prominent people, not only them, for all people. They should receive in the same way they should receive in a fair way and in a just way. This is a meaning of social justice, that everybody should enjoy from the facilities and from the privilege of the monetary system. Everybody should have, they should feel comfortable, they should feel easiness and ease in the society, whether to the insurance, whether to the hospitals, and so on and so forth. Everything should be in a fair and just way. So, my dear brothers and sisters, the point here is that if you want to attribute something to this divine religion of Islam, we should have inclusive understanding of verses of Noble Quran and narrations of Ahlul Bayt. So, regarding the houses, it should be according to the standard and common sense of the people. What is acceptable among each and every society to be commonly acceptable, commonly nice, commonly comfortable. It is okay according to the narrations of Ahlul Bayt. So we do not have a specific kind of houses that is recommended in Islam. No, whatever is commonly acceptable can be agreeable in this religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So of course, besides that, we have a lot of other explanation in this regard. We explain how to make that, about the height of that, about the lavatory room, and so on, about the washroom. We should put the washroom for the in the corner of the house, and so on and so forth. And it is recommended to have the lavatory outside the house. These are some beautiful, very beautiful recommendation from Islamic perspective, and how to have and how to make your house. I think these are very interesting for the some people who want to have some design, some houses, architecture part of the Islam. I think very amazing for those people who want to have further study. They can go and have these collections and hadith corpus, and to find lots of interesting advices of Islam in this regard. So let me move to another part of the Islamic lifestyle. So do not lose the track of our discussion. My friends, we are talking about the Islamic lifestyle. Whether you are Muslim, whether you are non-Muslim, I think this is good to have some idea about Islamic lifestyle. What does it mean to live according to this divine religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? I think it is very good time to talk about some verses of Noble Quran. My dear brothers and sisters, my dear audience, especially for those people who are Muslim, especially for those people who have the study of verses of Noble Quran, I think it is very worth mentioning to mention some part of the verses of Noble Quran. Inshallah, we can come to the clear understanding of Islamic lifestyle and what does it exactly means. My dear brothers and sisters, it is very important to know that human being is successor of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or you can put it vicegerents of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. According to the verses of Noble Quran, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ إِنِّي جَاعِلٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ خَلِيفَةً. This is verse number 30 of Surah Baqarah, chapter Baqarah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in the beginning of the creation of human being, told the angel that I want to put a vicegerent of mine on this planet. What does it mean to be vicegerent, to be Khalifatullah on the earth? What does it mean? That, my dear brothers and sisters, in other verses of Noble Quran, we have further explanation of that. Okay? For example, in Surah chapter Sad, verse 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, Ya Dawood, inna ja'alnaka khalifatan fil ard, fahkum bayna an-nas bil haqq, wa la tattabi' al-hawa fayudillaka an sabilillah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful verse told to the David, Prophet Dawood was one of the prominent and well-known prophets of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the son of Prophet Sulaiman. He said that فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala told that, "O Dawood, I want to put you as a vicegerent of mine on this planet. So judge people in a fair way with truth." Okay? Prophet Dawood was a father of Prophet, Sulaiman. And he told Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that, "I want to put you my vicegerent on this planet. So judge people with fairness and with justice." So, if you want to be vicegerent of Allah, if you want to be Khalifatullah, first criterion of that is to judge between people with fairness, justice. فَحْكُمْ بَيْنَ النَّاسِ بِالْحَقِّ. You should judge between people with truth. It is very important, my dear brothers and sisters. So, the government must be the government of justice, the government of truth. Whether you go to the courts, whether you have in a government, it doesn't matter. Fahkum. Hukm is both in the, governing the people or in the judging between the people. Both of them should be according to the truth and fairness. وَلَا تَتَّبِعَ الْهَوَى فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And do not follow your own desires. Because if you follow your own desires, your own whimsical, desires, it make you astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So my dear brothers and sisters, according to this verse of Surah Sad, we understand that to be vicegerent of Allah means, first of all, you should judge between people according to the justice, according to the truth. Then you should not follow your own desires, your own whimsical desires, because it makes you out of the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So it is important to be the vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I think this is one pillar of understanding the Islamic lifestyle. If you want to have Islamic lifestyle, it means that you are vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are vicegerent of God. I think it's very important. You human being, you are vicegerent of Allah. You are successor of Allah on this earth. What does it mean? What does it mean? It means that first of all, your governments, your political system must be in a just way, in a true way, according to the truth, based on truth. It is important. And then you should not follow your whimsical desires. I think it is very crucial, my dear brother and sister. What does it mean to be vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Unfortunately, if you go to other lifestyle, for example, you have the Western lifestyle, some part of that is to follow your desires, your individual desires. Whatever the individual likes, you should follow that. Nobody can ban any human being from following your own desires, from following the desires of the human being, from the desires of man and woman. Whatever the individual, whatever human being is desires, it is your practice should be according to that. I think this is one of the elements of Western's, lifestyle. Of course, I do not want to rude anybody. I do not want to make rude or any insults to anybody. With very respectful analysis, we want to have very respectful analysis for Western lifestyle and to have comparison between this lifestyle and Islamic lifestyle. Of course, with due respect to any other, culture or customs. But I think these are some, good comparison we can have here. Or you can have Eastern lifestyle to have this comparison between, divine and Islamic lifestyle and Eastern lifestyle. It doesn't matter. In this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that if you want to have Islamic lifestyle, you should not follow your desires, your whimsical desires. It is, I think, very key role to understand Islamic lifestyle. You should not follow your own whimsical desires. What we desire, for example, maybe some of us we desire to have a lot of money, to have a lot of money from whatever way, either from stealing, robbing other people, or so on and so forth, from the legal and illegal ways. We want to just have money, a lot of money. We want to collect a lot of money. Or for example, some people, very few people, they want to satisfy their sexual desires, whether it is in a homosexuality, illegal, legal, doesn't matter. Or some of us, their desire is to follow their own desire, sexual desire, to satisfy that. It doesn't matter. What matters is to, for example, just to satisfy our sexual desire. You can have some, homosexual people and so on and so forth. With regard to the political system, we want to have power. Some of us, some human beings, they want to have power. It doesn't matter from which way. Even with bombing innocent people, even with bombing and attacking to the Yemeni poor people, I just want to have my power, my political system to be established, to be strong, powerful, even with bombing and massacring poor people in Yemen. Because this is a whimsical desire of human being. They want to have power, so-called power. My dear brothers and sisters, it is very important to understand this element. According to this verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said that وَلَا تَتَّبِعَ الْحَوَى. Do not follow your whimsical desire. Come on, you are a human being. You are vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this planet. And if you follow your desire, فَيُضِلَّكَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. It takes you out of the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you want to follow the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is Siratul Mustaqim, because we always repeat this, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم, oh Allah, guide me to the straight path of yours. It means that you should not follow your desires, your carnal desires, your hawa. وَلَا تَتَّبِعِ الْحَوَى. Whatever translation you have for hawa. إِنَّ الَّذِينَ يَضِلُّونَ عَنْ سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ لَهُمْ عَذَابٌ شَدِيدٌ بِمَا نَسُوا يَوْمَ الْحِسَابِ. For those people who go astray from the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is a very severe chastisement for them because they have forgotten the day of judgment. So, my dear brothers and sisters, my conclusion is that one of the elements of Islamic lifestyle, to understand that and to recognize that we are vicegerent of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on this earth. And vicegerency of Allah means, first of all, to have fair system of government, whether to the judgment of people, either to the judgment of people or, distribution of money, and all of that should be in according to the justice. And then to not follow your personal desires. Of course, some part of the personal desires should be channeled. Okay? For example, when you want to have sexual satisfaction, okay, you can have the marriage, legal marriage in a very halal way. You should channel it. It is very important. And then not to forget the day of judgment. Again, it is important for those people who have the material perspective to this life. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala recommend them not to forget the day of judgment. These are some few verses in this regard. These are some elements and some basis for the Islamic lifestyle. We should keep all of that in mind. Inshallah, in upcoming session, I will share more ideas in this regard. Thank you very much for your participation and for your watch. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.